Hello there, everyone. My name is LεξGործND. I am a speedrunner from the Stomper community, and I'm also a moderator for it. Today, I'll be explaining all the categories in the Stomper community, along with any other rules or anything you should be aware of before submitting any runs. Now, before I begin, I do want to point out that every category for the full game runs do have a double size and a normal size category. The normal size category doesn't actually say normal size on that, it just says a category name. Basically, it's just a regular name. Double size does actually mention double size on there. Now, in order to get double size, you either have to watch an ad or you have to play the game for about 20 seconds. And this is after you unlock all the levels and songs in the game. The first category you'll be encountering is Classic Boosters. Now, Classic Boosters is where you play the game normally. You're allowed to stomp, you're allowed to use the boosters, you're allowed to do basically anything in order to just play the game. Classic, meaning the ability to stomp, is basically just the regular game, and then boosters are boosts that you encounter per 10 platforms. They boost you up 22 platforms. Next category I'll be going through is Classic No Boosters. Classic No Boosters is basically the exact same thing as Classic Boosters, except you are not allowed to use any boosters. If you hit a booster during your run will automatically be disqualified. Therefore, avoiding the boosters is a crucial part of this run. The boosters you encounter every 10 platforms get increasingly harder to avoid as the platforms get smaller and smaller as you get further into the game. So getting higher points or better runs gets even harder. No Stomp Boosters is the next category. No Stomp basically means that instead of playing the game normally, you can no longer stomp. So when you click to jump, you can't click again to stomp your character down into the platform. This makes the game 10 times more harder, as you have a feature that you can no longer use. Your accuracy has to be pinpoint from the moment you jump. You can still use the boosters, which is why no stomp boosters gives you some leeway. And it gets even harder with RNG since the booster placements also take into account the precise timing of your jumps. Now the final category I'll be going over is No Stomp No Boosters, also known as NSNB. Now, No Stomp No Boosters is, as it says in the titles, you can no longer stomp or use any boosters. Now, this is by far the hardest category you will encounter. It gives you the biggest challenge and such high reward when you get a great run, but it is very, very high skill level play. You have to know how your character physics work and how every platform speed could affect your jump. Now I'll be going over all the subcategories. There's technically only 3 subcategories if you don't include double size. Double size is basically the exact same thing, just your character being twice as big. So I will be going over every subcategory, but excluding all the double size sub-prefixes. So, to begin, I will go over 1 through 100 speedruns. So 1 through 100 speedruns are basically when you start your run, your first goal is to try to get to 100 as fast as possible. Now, this may sound easy, but there is a lot of intricate details you have to take into account. You have to remember when to stomp, make sure every stomp is frame perfect for good runs. As well as for boosters, make sure you hit every booster that you encounter. For no boosters, you have to make sure you avoid every booster possible. Even if you hit one booster, your boosters will immediately disqualify your run. This does mean that your boosters, for no boosters, are a threat. But if you hit the 100th booster, the booster on the 100th platform, this will not disqualify your run, as it means that you finish your run. You just hit the last booster, which doesn't give you an advantage in time. Now the next category I'll go through, subcategory, will be high score. High score is basically, as the name entails, you try to get the highest score. Now when submitting runs for high score, you will be submitting them in milliseconds. So instead of 415 being 4 seconds and 15 milliseconds, it will be 0.415 seconds. And that's how you will be submitting high score runs. Now, we allow screenshots for regular high scores in terms of any category that doesn't involve no stomp or no boosters. Only booster classic. So classic boosters are the only category where you are allowed to submit a screenshot. But if you are double size, screenshots are rarely accepted. Very, very precise or unique screenshots have to be like shot. So it's very hard for anyone to even get a good screenshot for that. So screenshots are rarely accepted for that. The last category to go over, subcategory, will be extra life. So this one is actually the hardest one to explain for beginners, since it seems like such a out there kind of event. It seems like a weirder event, but believe me, it's not that hard to understand. Basically, extra life is basically the same thing as high score, except you use the extra life feature the game offers you. So when you die, as shown in the example, you don't actually end your run there. You can continue to use your extra life. But extra life, the feature, only pops up after you reach platform number 30. Now, when you reach platform number 30, you are allowed to use an extra life. But there is certain times where you're not allowed to use extra lives. These are times where you're going for 100 speedruns. Mostly no booster, since an extra life does boost you up 22 platforms. It doesn't just revive you. It gives you a slight boost into the game. Now, for high score no boosters, or anything involving no boosters for high scores, you can use the extra life, but only when you're doing an extra life attempt. That's the only boost that you're allowed to take during a no booster high scorer attempt. When you die, you use the extra life, and that counts as your no booster extra life attempt. Now I'll be going over all the individual levels. Individual levels basically mean that all the achievements allowed to achieve in the game unlock a song attached to that achievement. And this basically allows us to have a whole category of unlocking the level songs. And I will be explaining every single song and their achievements attached to it. So first off is level 1, which is reach 50 points, which is pretty easy for a beginner to get to. The next song that we will be going through is Who You Are, where you have to play 100 times. You don't actually have to die. You can click and reset your game, and that will count as a game played. Next song will be Apocalypse. Now, Apocalypse is boost 5 times, and basically meaning that it is a 1 through 100 speedrun, since you hit 5 platforms going up to 100. Now, we will go through Honesty and Time, which means you have to reach 150 points. 150 points is actually a pretty big milestone for beginners, and it's a very hard score to get when you're starting off in the game. Next up is Doesn't Matter. Doesn't matter, you have to score exactly 100 points to get that song unlocked. No more, no less. Once you land on a 100 platform, you can either die or reset the game. StarDrive is the next song. Basically, you have to reach 50 points without boost. So this is actually one of the harder challenges that beginners have to encounter, as it seems like an easy challenge, but once you start trying it, you realize that your jumps have to be pretty accurate and you have to avoid every booster consciously. Legend is technically the final song you will be unlocking with an achievement, Legend, you have to reach 200 points, which is a huge milestone for beginners, and it's definitely the more entertaining run, and possible world records will be coming out of that one. I can definitely see the runs getting a lot faster. The final song you'll be unlocking will be level 4, which will be unlock all trophies. So basically, level 4 is a unlock all levels run. You'll be unlocking every song I just went over, and that will unlock level 4. The level 4 timer won't stop until the level 4 achievement pops up, which is the very first frame when it becomes a line on your screen. We will retime those times, so don't worry about being pinpoint accurate with your time stops. Now, I will go over certain runs that haven't been completed. There's technically 32 different events, different categories you can break records and set your own personal records on. Except there has been 2 categories that have not been completed yet. And those categories are no stomp, no boost, 1 through 100 speedrun. So currently, as the moment of recording this video, there has been no official 1 through 100, no stomp, no boost speedrun. So currently there's only 30 events where you can get runs submitted. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you had a great day. I hope you guys learned something new. If you have any additional questions, please submit them in the comment section below, and I will be sure to answer them. Have a great day.